welcome to the Frontend Coffee Break, episode 54, the podcast where we take a break, have a coffee, tea, and say hi. Chucho, how are you?
Hi, Ricard. All good. Enjoying a quiet afternoon. Well, quiet. A lot of work, but let's take a little bit of a coffee break and discuss a little bit about Frontend. How are you?
Exactly. I'm good. It's a little bit cold in Barcelona, but it's fine. It's fine. Could be way worse, so I cannot complain. And here today, we are here to have a break and chat Frontend. I love Frontend. Today, let's bring a topic that maybe some of our listeners, developers don't know about. If I say the word interop, does it ring a bell?
I mean, not
Maybe.
really. I'm
Not
gonna
really.
be one of those. I'm gonna be one of those
That's
that
fine.
don't really know.
And that is fine. That is absolutely fine. So for a couple of years already, there has been this initiative where the browser vendors sit together, and based on community suggestions and feedback, they create this sort of feature list that they will work on their own browsers for the current year, right? This sort of initiative, they have a dashboard that you guys can check it out. It will be linked in the description, but basically it's wpt.fyi. And this shows like a set of web tests that they run against the browsers, right? And these tests are on the features that we've agreed to work on, right? Currently, for this year, it shows that it's 92% of the whole interoperability set of features, right? So we're very advanced. And we're using this now in this episode because recently, I think last month, they have done a call to action to the developers to actually go to GitHub and raise tickets and raise suggestions on what should the 2026 list be, right? And it's super interesting because it's a great effort from Google, Apple, Mozilla, and other vendors, also like Microsoft for Edge, right? And also consultants to actually, again, do how to say, live in the past, the works on my machine or works on Chrome, but rather that works everywhere when it will be ready, right? And it's yeah.
This is very interesting. I mean, I'm very happy to see this kind of effort. I wasn't aware of it. I mean, throughout the history of precisely browser support or the feature support by browsers, we've been all over the place. But how long has this effort been, the Interop, been around?
It's a good question. You got me there. I do not know when it did start.
Let's see the about, and let's see if we can find. Well, I don't see anything immediately, but it's super nice that they had this. A little bit of history. I mean, right now we have a very homogeneous, I think, environment of at least the most popular web browsers. In the past, we used to have Microsoft's proposal with Internet Explorer. We used to have Firefox. We used to have Chrome, of course. We had Opera, and we had Safari. And these were like the 5 major platforms. We have many more right now, but these were like the 5 major platforms. And it seems that some of them have disappeared. Internet Explorer completely disappeared and went for Chromium, to use Chromium as a
engine.
Engine. I was thinking motor, but no, it's an engine. We still have Firefox, which fortunately has remained true and it has remained separate. We have Safari, that also they think that they like to do things on themselves, and now can sometimes give a little bit of a headache. I'm not sure about Opera, if Opera is working with Chromium or it's still using its own. Well, it's not a big browser anymore, but well.
Opera has disappeared from. I mean, at least from on my radar, has disappeared. The one that you said, and also the one I use on my day-to-day for personal use, it's Vivaldi, which is based on Chromium. And it's like you can think about it like a Chrome without all these privacy invasive things, no ads, no. So it's very good. Like it's the Chrome engine, but it's like it's how it should be. Yeah.
But well, it's interesting to see that they're now trying to figure this out, because in the past, the odd one was definitely Internet Explorer, Microsoft itself, that they were doing the things their own way, and we usually had to work for Microsoft and everything else. And then I remember that there was a moment which Microsoft like started to do things right, and it was Safari, the one. I many years ago I went to a conference, And I was talking to one of the presenters there, and she told me like, hey, right now she was working with the Opera initiative, trying to bring everyone together, precisely something like this, to coordinate all major web browsers in order to support major features. And she was telling me, that right now Safari is a new Internet Explorer, because Safari wants to do things on their own, and they don't care about what the
But
other ones are doing.
No longer.
That's
If you look
nice.
at Interop, the dashboard, like Safari is up there with Chrome. Like Safari is at 99, the same as Chrome. So definitely, if you go on social media and you like to follow people, you can follow like Jen Simmons. She's the Apple evangelist on web developer experience, and she shares a lot of this Interop and pushes a lot on the web platform. And now finally, I think Safari has become like one-to-one with Chrome, and really the experience is really good. Like for the past years, I mean, what you say is totally true, and we'll deep dive now how it used to be, how we used to hack to make things compatible. But haven't you noticed, like for the past recent years, you can test maybe on Chrome, and it will work on the others. Like usually, what do you do on your day-to-day, like layouting or JavaScript? You know that, yeah, I'll do it on Chrome. It's gonna work on Safari. It's gonna work on Firefox because the APIs are there, everything is there. Unless you're doing super cutting-edge stuff, usually the stuff that we usually work on, grids, flex, forms, and JavaScript modules, these things, they're all already super baseline, right? So yeah.
Until a few years ago, the testing matrix that we had was definitely, you test for desktop, you tested in Chrome and Firefox, and in mobile, you tested in Firefox and Safari. No,
Right.
well, yes, because those were the ones that could be a little bit different. And Safari usually doesn't have any issues in desktop for the most part, but I did find out. I mean, you did find a lot of issues in mobile that you
iOS,
had
yeah.
to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right now it's been, now that you say it, it has been a few years that I haven't had big issues with Safari. So now I see why. That's nice.
Yeah, they're pushing very hard, and I'm very happy to see it, definitely. So how was it back in the day? Like I remember when we started, it was a pain in the neck, to say it mildly. To always, you would have always, as I said before, you would have in your machine, you would have Chrome, you would have Firefox, you would have Internet Explorer, maybe even virtual machines, right? To actually open different versions of Explorer.
Yes.
Because you knew that when you were doing some sort of layout that was not tables, maybe it would not look okay on others, right? And it was very painful.
Yeah. Especially, for example, at the beginning of the beginning, 15 plus years ago, because of the box model, especially because Internet implemented a very different box model than that you had in the rest of the developers and the browsers. If I'm not mistaken, Internet Explorer was actually the one that implemented it correctly.
Ha!
And the rest of the browsers did it wrongly.
The irony.
If I remember, the irony. That was the one thing that the rest did better. The rest did wrong, and Internet Explorer was doing okay. But anyhow, since it was very different, as you say, when you were working with layouts, you had to be very careful on that. You had to do a lot of adjustments in order to make it work throughout all the different browsers. And it was quite a bit of a pain in the neck, I remember. So, wow.
Yeah. I remember that when we had to convince clients that Pixel Perfect was not something achievable cross-browser, that you would tell them, hey, you have to realize, assume, and understand that it will not look exactly the same on Firefox and Chrome. But nowadays, you can say that. You can say, yes, my grid is going to look exactly the same on the 4 main browsers, and that's fantastic.
But also, one very interesting thing is that we've moved away, at least in the projects that I've worked in these 4 or 5 years, we've moved away from pixel perfection. We used to have like pixel perfect, and we had tools to review that it was exactly 7 pixels from the border into the top of the font and this kind of things. We used to work with pixel perfection, but in the last few years, I mean, many years, the clients haven't asked for pixel perfection anymore. It's like, I guess either they gave up, or maybe I suspect a little bit that the designers also got a little bit more sloppy and
Sloppy
are
or
not doing
flexible or
pixel
understanding.
perfect.
Maybe they're more understanding that we had this phase where it was really, really hard and very expensive for developers to actually achieve like same pixel perfect or same distances and same because the rendering engines are different, right? So it's very hard sometimes. You had pixel calculations were different, and you were like, you would put it side to side. it's different spacing, even though it's 3 pixels, right? And then I think designers and clients said, yeah, this is either not feasible or it's very expensive to amend. So let's move on and ship features rather than worrying about 3 pixels that the end user is not going to notice.
Yeah. So what were the things that we used to do back in the day to make sure that a feature, was working correctly, or it worked as closely as possible, or that right now, for example, we have Can I Use, which is a fantastic website that if you see a feature that you say, oh, this is super new, I didn't know about it, but will it be supported by the major browsers? You go to Can I Use, you put it there, and then you get information about how much support that feature has, which is fantastic. But back in the day when we didn't have the Can I Use, what would you do? Do you remember what tricks did you have to do
Felix, I
to
know
make
you will
things
say
work?
something about CSS that I will not mention it, so you mention it later. For JavaScript, and I think we've stopped doing it for a while now. Maybe sometimes you do, but it's very rarely. Polyfills, right?
Oh yeah,
Polyfills is the concept where you needed a browser feature like JavaScript, maybe something API, something that, I don't know, some properties in an object that now it was available in Chrome but not in the others. And you would simply, drop in this polyfill, this piece of JavaScript that would recreate this API or these properties or these methods in an array. I don't know, whatever it was, right? And that was a lot of code that you had to ship additionally because you wanted your components and your code to be clean, to be modern. But at the same time, you were living on the edge because there was no like overall interoperability. So you had to do these hacks to say, I want to use the latest, but I know Chrome doesn't, or whatever, or Firefox doesn't support it. So I need to even ship more JavaScript so I can use it. So yeah, polyfills, man, I think of the past.
the saddest thing about polyfills, I think, was that even if you have, for example, your major browser supported it and it had like a 60% coverage over in the entire world or of your client base, or even if you only had like 20% coverage of a browser that didn't have this, you still needed to ship the polyfill there
Right.
in order to support that 20% of users that couldn't use this feature because they were using whatever Explorer or
And
whatever.
it has always been a decision. I think with the browser list packages and all these things where you can actually target browser usage and you can say, hey, I only want to support the top 20% or top 60%, whatever it is. And then the polyfills or Babel or Webpack, all these things, they will just polyfill based on those metrics. But still, yeah, I think the thing of the past now. Usually when I use JavaScript, it's always supported, man. I don't use super cutting edge because I don't need to. Like what we have right now available on 2025, it's already fantastic. So yeah, it's all good. How did you? What did you do in the past for CSS?
No, well, for instance, you could also apply polyfills in some of the cases that you needed to support certain CSS. But if people that haven't worked for so long, and fortunately you hadn't had to go through this, we use what we used to call CSS hacks. There were actually known CSS hacks in order to make certain features work throughout all the different browsers, or at least to not break anything. And there were very interesting things because the hacks could be that you put a certain number of styles in a certain order, and depending on that, it would work in one browser and in another browser without breaking it. Or I remember that you could actually target through CSS specific browsers, specific versions, because all other browsers didn't understand this CSS property or the way that you put the rule. And there was pages. I mean, if you look, it's been years since I haven't had to look. But if you look, you could look for pages that had CSS flag hats for Internet Explorer 6, for 7, for 8, and you had all those interesting things. Then again, Internet Explorer 7, I think, came around, and then they created the optional what was it called? Uh, Basically, Internet Explorer added a feature that you could put an if Internet Explorer 7, and then you could load a CSS.
Oh, in the HTML. Yes, I remember.
Yes.
Yes, a comment, HTML comment. Yes.
So you could add that, for example, when it came out, because before that you had to rely on a lot of different hacks because you had to load all the CSS always, or potentially use JavaScript in order to choose which CSS to load, which was, well, not the best option. But you had to load everything and you had to hack hacks so that things wouldn't break. And then Internet Explorer 7 came, they had this optional comment where you could say everything that you put between this comment would be loaded if it was Internet Explorer or if it wasn't the Explorer 7, and other browsers would just simply ignore it. I remember that when that came in, it's like a lifesaver, and it made our lives as developers so much easier.
I think when I started coding, I think I already had this comment. I think I don't remember the switch from before and after. I do remember having this. I do remember having, of course, specific style sheet files that would like be ie.css and then all.css. And it was a pain, man. It was a pain to always do something, feature a component, and then have to open the virtual machine or go to somewhere else to open the thing. Oh, it doesn't look okay. Okay, then let me amend just for this browser and then refresh both. The testers would have to go to both browsers. Man, I mean, right now we're living a high life. We're living a good life. You just write CSS, save, it compiles or whatever it is, SAS, whatever you're using, ship it to the browser, done. Oh.
Well, they were called conditional comments. So if anyone's interested on how they work, you could look for conditional comments in Internet Explorer, and you'll see how it worked. And it was a very beautiful, at least for me, it seemed like a very elegant solution, and I loved it. I loved it that they had that back in the day. But well, it was, in the end, it was a hack. And they knew that they were so different, and people were having such a hard trouble working with their browsers, and they wanted people to keep on working with their browsers. So that they added this. One thing that this reminds me of something that I once read. I don't remember the developers, but he was a guy that did All That Malarkey website, and he was a very famous designer, web developer, and he basically said that he didn't understand why people wanted to, that you wouldn't expect a black and white TV to show color, would you? So if you had a black and white TV, you really wouldn't be upset if you only see it in black and white. Even if the show was in color, you wouldn't expect it to be in color. And yet, they said that at that point, with Internet Explorer and how things were, people were actually expecting to see color in black and white TVs. And that's the thing that we had to work with. It's like people were saying, oh, I want it to work and look well in Internet Explorer. It's like, well, Internet Explorer cannot support it. You wouldn't expect it to support it if it's not.
Yeah. You're right. I think, but those are the clients. I think the end user, the poor end user who just buys a PC and then it comes already bundled with Internet Explorer, they want to surf the web. They open the icon that's already available to them. They don't know how to download Chrome, download Firefox. They just click on that. It doesn't look okay. So I understand, but thank God we're past that. Thank God. So this in Interop again, this in Interop, I don't know how to say it, has brought us like amazing like features like the has, the nestings, container queries, and I really enjoy like when you finish the year and they say now this is available everywhere. It is fantastic. But I want to raise a question for you, Chucho, and then we can discuss.
Yes.
What does this mean? Like if every year, like all the browsers are aligned, and then you see or you have the same features in all the major engines. Does it mean like do we need multiple browsers? Like couldn't we just work on one?
I mean, we do need multiple browsers, yes, because we cannot have a monopoly.
All right.
That's basically it. Why? Because imagine that you only have Chromium, and they are the ones that drive the web forward, and they are the ones that control the features. So it will get to, right now, since they're working together, they are organizing themselves. At least that's the way I see it. They have to organize themselves in order to support things that people want. They're working and they're making things work together, but nobody can add something that the rest doesn't want. Like, for example, ads or ad blockage. And suddenly imagine that we only have Chromium, and Chromium doesn't allow you to block ads for whatever reason, because that's the way that it works. Of course, that's more of a browser implementation, even if it had the engine on underneath. But imagine that you only had that, and suddenly it's like, no, you cannot block ads, or ads are going to work this way no matter what you do with your browser. So they can add any feature, and nobody can do anything about it. But right now, having different browsers, although they all work in the same way, you don't let any one browser control the entire environment, because under the
standards.
the standards. Under this logic is like, if all TVs work the same, why should we have different TV brands?
No, it's good. Definitely. I was just teasing you, trying to play devil's advocate. But of course, I also think that we need multiple browser vendors, we need multiple products. They can compete with each other. And of course, that they have different flavors, right? I mean, if you are on a Apple ecosystem, you want to sync these things simply and smoothly. So install Safari on your phone and your Mac, and then you have everything is shared. And the same thing with others, right? So I definitely understand the need for that, but I just want to raise it. And also, like, can we ask here when we will have the damn selectors customizable via CSS in all browsers? I'm super tired of having to hack div select options, but I want the native ones. I want the native to be colored with CSS and be ready when I need it.
Is it not in the DevOps?
Interop, I don't see
Interop?
it. I do not see it for 2025, and I hope somebody has already asked for it in 2026 because we need this. I saw some experimental flag somewhere in Chrome that they are trying to work on it, and it's halfway there that finally, after I don't know how many years, we can finally paint a selector. I think forms are a big pain. If you ask me right now, what would I include in next years? It will be mostly forms. I despise having to hack these UIs to create fake checkboxes, fake radius because they want animations, they want things, fake drop downs, and having both on the same page. You have the native one because maybe on mobile you want the native UI to show up on the mobile device, but then on the desktop you have all the divs and you have to sync them, and it's just not accessible, or it's pretty hard to make them accessible. So really, I would love to have more customizable form elements.
It's curious that because when HTML5 came along, it brought, for example, a lot of features in the forms, because it was before in HTML4 it was quite a bit of a pain, and not only for the things that you're saying that are still there, but you didn't have like a date, or you didn't have certain things that were fairly common. Required. Yeah. And they brought it in HTML5, and right now there's still forms. It's still an important thing. It's still something that it's widely used. Even it's not like everything, but I think that no. Actually, I think we interact with forms every single day.
Right?
Most of the people
form in a platform somewhere, you log in, you see an input field, a text field. Yeah.
Amazon, when you're looking for selecting like, oh, I want to select this or that. Yeah, actually forms is something that we use I think that everyone uses every single day. Take a look next time that you're browsing, when you're browsing, not going through Instagram, things like this. Take a look and pay attention to see how many forms you're actually interacting with. And it is something that is very important, and it is something that is lacking, but it's also something that after HTML5, it felt that they forgot it completely. There's nothing new.
Yeah. I mean, it was a nice jump, and I appreciate like the type email, type telephone, all this type that gives us a lot of validation in line, the pattern projects. It's in a very good state. But I feel like if we want to be more accessible, especially this year that we had this Accessibility Act in Europe, we want to be more native. We want to have more native elements, no more like custom web components for the same thing. I want native stuff. I want everybody to be able to read it out loud with keyboard and screen readers. But I also, for those that can, progressive enhancement, give them a more pretty UI, right? So yeah, that's my wish. What would you be in your list if you can come up with anything? JavaScript, CSS, HTML, I do like to add.
I mean, I guess for the CSS part, I already got it. One of the things that it's really not exactly there, but it is there. The parent selector, in the sense that
has, yes.
But when has came, it just changed completely the
oh my God,
the way to work with it. Right now, I just precisely this past week, I had to do something related to only an element that has this as a parent, and it's like, how do you do it? And it's like, sorry, of course you can do it with has, putting in the parent, and and it was fantastic. It was fantastic. So for the most part, I think that I'm more than happy on the way that it is. And regarding JavaScript, it does exist, but I don't think that it's really, well, last time I checked, it wasn't really that intuitive, which is data binding.
Okay.
I think that the data binding is something that is also like a very basic part of all the major frameworks. And it's one of the things that made me like frameworks themselves. That's one of the things that I saw. Oh, I love how data binding works. It's magic. And I think that it revolutionized the way to work. And although you can implement data binding right now, it's not really that complicated. It's really, you can implement it. I wouldn't mind if there was an easy way to actually
a more
implement.
standard way. Yeah, I feel you. I think you can do it with proxies and JavaScript. I think I've done it in the past, and it sort of works, but you need some code there. I would love to have more a streamlined way of, I don't know, marking elements that then having access to that in the JavaScript somehow. Yeah, I feel you. It could be. But overall, again, don't get me wrong, listeners. I'm also very happy with the current state and everything. Like, it's very good. The CSS and the has not, all these things. It's fantastic now with container queries. They're amazing, man. Container queries are oof, for components. It's fantastic. So definitely we're in a good state. If you're starting developing in this year, last year, or last 5 years, you don't know what year. Yeah.
Let's say that the complete panorama was very different pre-COVID as it is right now.
Could be,
it's
yeah.
like 2020. Not because of COVID changed it, but just to put more or less a time frame. And we've gotten so many things in the last few years, so many features that were part of frameworks, part of hacks, or part of things that people were using, but had to do something special to use them, and they become native. And it really has made the life of developers so much easier.
Have a good one.
I'm really happy, as you say. I'm very happy as well with the current state of the internet,
of the web. Yeah.
Of the web. Yeah. So
to finish, you're in a very good mood, and I wanna break that. So I wanted to tell you that now on is it Node, Deno, and Bun, TypeScript is native, so you can actually write TypeScript and run it with Node, and maybe TypeScript will become native in the web. So get ready, TypeScript everywhere. Chucho, see you next time.
Okay. And just for those, just as a last message, this initiative, Interop, it's not only about someone else is doing it. You can actually join them and help them and contribute to them. So it's not about just what others are doing, but it's also an initiative that you can go there and participate. So if you are interested in helping the web move along, go check the website and see if there's anything that you can contribute. Okay. Bye, Ricard.
See ya.